So this week I want to cover AI, at least begin to cover it, and I'll have a number of episodes upcoming around AI and some of its capabilities. And I got to tell you, as I started to go through and understand a little bit more about what AI is capable of, I was really blown away. I mean, there is so much out there from an AI standpoint. And if you just go to YouTube and start browsing some of the videos on AI, it can help you with a number of things from video editing to, uh, you know, pictures and, you know, it really is endless, the amount of things it can do uh, from an analytical standpoint and beyond. I mean, it's amazing. So I definitely saw things out there would help with things like marketing in organizations, but I specifically wanted to ask the question, which is where I want to start here, and I'll bring up how AI actually Chat GPT um, responded to my quest for um, executives, which is my question to ChatGPT was, how can corporate executives use AI to be more effective? Now, it came up with 7 things, and it was interesting after watching a number of uh, videos on AI, and there's, it's not just Chat GPT. There are a number of types of AI. You got Browse AI, you got Looka, you've got uh, Copy AI, Spin Rewriter. I mean, it can summarize articles and redo them. I mean, it's almost endless what it's capable of doing, and even to something called Mem, which can help you organize your notes. So help you put together a presentation. A beautiful AI. I mean, it's amazing. So as I got into it, I got distracted. It was the shiny object syndrome, but the capabilities are really, really unbelievable. Now, I'm going to say something here. You can take it as you wish. Some of the things that have been incorporated into Chat GPT are kind of pre-programmed, not necessarily telling you the truth or giving you it's giving you an opinions because it's been coded in. So I just want to warn people that when they use Chat GPT, it's not as clean as something. So you kind of have to take it with a grain of salt to a certain degree. But there are some things that it does that I believe that it will do very well. And I think the things that, when I ask the question, how can corporate executives use AI to be more effective? These 7 things resonate, and there's probably more things as I got into it that it is capable of helping with. But so let's just read the responses here. I'll bring it up on the page for those who are watching the video, and then for the people on the podcast, which is most of my audience, you will see or not or hear the 7 things. So here we go. The first thing is data analysis and insights, which would, it's not shocking that data analysis would be something that this would be very good at, that AI would be very good at. It basically says it can identify patterns and correlations and trends that may not be seen. Using algorithms and data mining techniques, it's got all that stuff in it. The second thing was predictive analytics. Assist in forecasting sales, demand, market trends, and potential risks, which risk management actually becomes one of them here. We'll get to that in a minute. But the third thing was automation and efficiency. automating processes like data entry, report generation, and basic customer interactions, um, you know, as as a primary uh, thing that AI can accomplish. The fourth is natural language processing (NLP), which allows executives to analyze and understand unstructured data, such as customer feedback, social media posts, or market research reports. So you can send it off. I'm almost like a bot and find information maybe on trends and things of that sort in your marketplace, depending on what business that you're in. Um, and then the fifth thing is personalized customer experiences, which kind of got my attention. But analyzing customer data and preferences, they can suggest relevant products, services, or content, enhancing customer engagement and satisfaction. Now, I've been less than I don't know, happy with the software, like the CRM systems are out there. But I think this could potentially morph into things with a few caveats that I'll get into after I cover the seven. The sixth thing is risk management, machine learning models that can analyze historical data, identify patterns that indicate potential risk or anomalies. I mean, I could see, prevent fraud, cybersecurity breaches, operational disruptions at the top of the list, which I thought, yeah, okay, I could see it morphing into that. And then the seventh one is talent acquisition and management, and be able to screen resumes, assess candidate fit, and conduct initial interviews. So maybe be interviewing at some point with an AI robot. So anyway, those are the seven things that at least ChatGPT came up with that I thought I would share, and I think it's a good start. And then as I got into it, I started to ask it some additional questions around these things and things that basically, I'm interested in it being capable of doing. And, the thing, just like with software, I mean, this thing is in its infancy, and because of some of the biases that have been put into it, again, this does taint some of the responses that you get, and that's why I'm more interested in it from a data standpoint and less about kind of the softer things that you may get into. And the caveat is that you know it's garbage in, garbage out, just like software. In other words, if you're asking the wrong questions, you're going to get maybe the answers that you don't need or want for your organization. So you're going to have to it'll be something that you have to play with. And actually, this is where I think that the 95 method actually fits in, which is my system for studying, because it does help you ask better questions, because you're speaking from knowledge and you're just not trying to come up with questions, and therefore you are able to fill some of the data components of it that maybe you need to run your business better, make better executive decisions. It's something that you have to have pretty good knowledge to ask the right questions, and executives often don't have the depth of knowledge around customers and things that are actually happening in organizations to ask good questions. And I see a nice marriage between I did originally with software too, but this takes it to a whole nother level. I also think that this may be helpful as far as innovation goes. I, I I'll dig into that a little bit deeper in future episodes, but it doesn't mention innovation, and I still think that may be one of the last components of a business that executives will be able to hold, you know, control over for their organization, because innovation, it's I'm curious to see how ChatGPT is going to be able to come up with new products and services, but you know, giving you insights into innovation, I think that could be helpful and useful. So, so those are some of the things that I see that I'll be covering in future episodes. What I want to make a final note that, as I got into this, one of the primary questions I wanted to do was, Excel, you know, data in general. How do you take the data, and how can we use it within organizations? So it started me down a path, and some may be rolling their eyes because they're more familiar than but I've took me a while to learn how to use pivot tables and things of that sort. But now they've integrated basically Microsoft's AI into Excel, and you can begin to ask the Excel to create things for you and ask it questions about your spreadsheet. And so I started into that. That's going to be a little bit more involved. There's a few things I have to overcome in order to put it together. One is I have a Mac, and most of the Microsoft products obviously have other, more oriented towards a Windows environment. And so I want to begin to play with this, because one of the first questions I wanted to get answered was, okay, I know I can put a formula into Excel for statistical process control charts, which I've talked about before. You can do a search on past episodes where I've talked about SPC, but can it generate a chart for me if I just ask it to? What does it take? I mean, these are some of the things that I started to ask ChatGPT, but it's only a text type of environment where it's not showing me a chart or anything like that. So that got me in a little bit deeper as I'm going through and coming up with ways to use this. I mean, to be able to go into analyze data, which is where it's located on the Excel spreadsheet. It'll do the analysis for you by asking different questions. And I thought, okay, so I'll have it create, but I ran into some problems with my Excel. And then the integration has, they've gone away from Internet Explorer now, and most of you probably know this if you're Windows users, but to Edge. And so now I've downloaded Edge. I'm just kind of trying to get a sense of all of the moving parts associated with AI as it stands today. And I'm sure it will improve and change over time. But right now you have to kind of, be your own engineer and coming up with some of these data. But, I'm very hopeful that at some point you'll be able to just, speak into, to AI and say, hey, throw me out a control chart of, revenue for the last 24 weeks, and, spits it out and shows you on a screen or whatever. I mean, it's definitely, we're inching closer to those types of things. And and having it readily available like that, because usually you collect the data, and I still think there's some data collection that you need to do, especially in the 95 method, where you're going to have to listen to phone calls or listen to interactions with customers, so that what's behind it. I wouldn't rely on AI, at least at this juncture, until it can listen to customers the way that you need to. And I think that provides something that executives can kind of be critical of. What are we learning, and whether it's just a machine generated thing, or are we really getting insights? Um, uh, Becoming intimately involved in, you know, sitting and listening and seeing what's happening with your customers is a valuable exercise. Otherwise, ChatGPT could be completely wrong about the data that's out there. And what we need to do is have a way to affirm that what ChatGPT or AI in general is telling us is worthy of, being actionable. So anyway, that's it. The state of things. It was really, I had no idea there's so many different types of AI components out there right now that I had no idea they all existed. Some of them, I'll just kind of toss away because I don't think it would be very useful to, from an executive standpoint. But there are going to be some that, you know, like these things on organizing your notes, and MEM is the site that has that, or beautiful AI, to help with presentations, things that for all those would probably be very useful for most executives. I don't know many executives that go out and are not presenting the data that they have. So anyway, I was kind of a general overview, I guess, of AI, where I'll be seeing this as I get educated on it, and putting it out there, especially around the data. I think there's, data are data, and they are something that, where some of the softer stuff out there about, the actions you should take in your company coming from AI, but the data, having that be able to speak ultimately to something, and then all of a sudden there you have your control chart. That would be pretty cool, or the types of data that you need. But it's, again, garbage in, garbage out. You still got to know what you're looking for. So anyway, that's what I wanted to cover this week. And remember, there is always a better way.